The module tutorial for EX2 session 2.1 begins on page EX65 and it ends on page EX93. Session 2.2 starts on page EX94 and ends on page EX122. To complete this homework, you will submit one file, and you'll use the same file in session 2.1 and 2.2, and your submission will be called morningbean.xlsx, and you need these two files to complete the assignment. So go ahead and download them, and then let's get started. On page 69, we are asked to save this file as morningbean. Go ahead and save it, and then click in the documentation sheet, and in the author field go ahead and type your name. Then select cell A1, and we're going to go to the Home tab, and in the font we're going to click the arrow, and we're going to point to Bauhaus 93, which is here, or any of these others, and you can see the live preview in the back, and we're asked to select Calibri Light, and in the font size button we're asked to change the font size to 26-point font, and we're asked to bold it. You can press the B or you can hit the Control B button. On page 70 we're asked to click cell A2, and we're supposed to make this 18-point font, so we'll go ahead and do that, and we're asked to make it italicized. Then we're asked to select the range A4 to A6, A4 to A6, and we're supposed to bold these, and then click in cell A7 to deselect, and your documentation sheet should look similar to this and the picture on page 70. Page 71 is asking us to select the range A1 to A2, and then on the Home tab we're going to click the font color, and we're asked to select the green color. So we can go ahead here and select green, actually the 6th color here, so the green from the standard colors and not from the theme colors. On page 72 we're asked to double click cell A1 to select it, so we'll select cell A1, and it wants us to drag the pointer over the word morning to just select morning and not bean. And on the mini toolbar here we're asked to select the font color, and we're going to click gold accent 4 from the themes. So gold accent 4 is right here. We'll go ahead and do that, and the mini toolbar will close up as soon as we select this. We can click out, and you can see we have we've formatted this cell with two different font colors. On page 73 we're asked to select the range A4 to A6, and we're going to go to the font color button arrow, and we're going to select green in the standard colors. Oops, sorry, not the font color, the fill color. Fill color to be green. So we're going to fill the cells in green, and then we're going to change the font color. This is on step 3. So we're going to make it white. So that way we have the dark background with the light colored font in the beginning. It wants us to increase the width of column B to 30. So we'll make it 30. And then it wants us to select A4 to B6. So A4 to B6, and add borders around each of the cells. So we can click the borders button and select all borders. and we were supposed to wrap this text in this range back on step 5, but I forgot to do that, so I'm going to select the range, and we're going to just click the Wrap Text button on the Home tab. And I noticed that I also missed step 4, where I was supposed to change the font color to green. So why don't I go ahead and do that as well. Okay, so now I have steps 1 through 7 on page 73 correct. So your sheet should look similar to mine, which should look similar to the figure 2-5 on page 74. Okay, on the ribbon, it wants us to go to the Page Layout tab. I'll go ahead and select this. And we're going to select Background. Okay, so we're going to insert a picture in here to act as the background for our spreadsheet. And we're going to go out and we're going to select from Downloads the background file that we downloaded. So I'm going to go ahead and click Insert. And you'll notice now I have this background marbled look. Okay, and it should look like the picture on page 75. And if after we change this, apparently I missed this as well. I apologize for that, but the fill here is supposed to be white. Okay, so it should look like this. I made 2 mistakes there on page 73, but this corrects them all. Moving on to page 76, we're asked to select the Sales Report tab, and it wants us to click cell C6. C6 is right here for gross sales, and it wants us to use the sum function. So we're going to type in sum, and we'll open the parentheses, and we'll tell it C27 through N46. And we can't really see what just happened. If we scroll down a little bit, we can see the highlighted range is what we have below here is the monthly gross sales per store. So we've basically taken this whole large range and we're adding them all up for our gross sales. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and we should see $9,880,800. In cell C9, we're going to take the gross sales and subtract out the cost of sales and the operating expenses to get our net profit and loss. So we're going to open the equal sign up here, and we're going to tell it C6. So we're going to take the gross sales, then we're going to subtract, and we're going to do this addition of the 2 expenses first. So we're going to put the open parenthesis here, and then we're going to type C7 plus C8 and close the parentheses. So we're telling Word to add C7 and C8 up first and then subtract both of them from C6. Okay, if you don't put the parentheses in, you'll have the wrong result. I'm going to click the Enter checkbox up here just to show you a little different method, and you should see $2,299,900 as your net profit or loss. We're asked then to copy the formula in cell C9 into D9. So we can right mouse click and select copy, then click D9 and right mouse click and hit paste, and we'll see $2,273,220. In cell C16, we want to enter another formula here, so we're going to enter C6, which again is our total sales, divided by C23, which you'll notice down here is the number of stores that we have. And I'm going to go ahead here and hit enter. Okay, and that puts us down to the cost of sales, okay, which is going to be equal to, and these are averages, right? This is sales statistics per store. So I'm going to put equals C7, which is my cost of sales up here, and I'm going to divide that by C23, again my number of stores. Same thing here with C8 divided by C23, and then our net profit or loss again is going to be whoops, not C19, C9, right, divided by C23. And then we're going to move down to the units sold, which we have a value here in C11, so we'll equal C11 divided by C23. And then we have our customers served, which is C12 divided by C23. And you can double check all of your numbers on page 76 to make sure your calculations are all correct. We're then asked to copy the formulas in the range C16, okay, so C16 to C22. I'm going to right mouse click and select copy, and then I'm going to paste them into the range D16 to D22. You can come here, and I'll just go up here and click paste. And we've essentially copied our formulas over. It says select B24 to deselect the range. And we can double check that everything matches up with what we see in figure 2-7 on page 77. So now you'll see we have columns for net change and percent change. So we're going to do these calculations. So the net change is just going to be the year-over-year change. So in E6, we'll type in equals, and we're going to take current year and subtract out prior year to calculate our net change from year to year. And then in F6, we're going to do a calculation where we're going to calculate the net, the difference in change as a percentage basis. Okay, and they give us the formula there. So in that, we're going to type in equals, and we're going to do the C6 minus D6 calculation first. So we're going to subtract that, and then we're going to divide it by last year's amount, D6, to find out what the rate of change was. And we see that it's a large number here. Right, it's roughly 14, almost 15%. Now we're going to take this formula, these two formulas, E6 and F6, and we're going to copy these. Okay, so we're going to just click copy, and they're copied to the clipboard. And we're going to paste this in some discontiguous ranges, or non-adjacent ranges is how the book describes them. So we're going to select E7 through F9. So here's E7 through F9. I'm going to hold the control key down, and then I'm going to select E11 through F12, and then E16 through F19, and then E21 through F23, and then I'm going to select paste to paste those formulas in, and you can see the changes made, and we'll just click out to deselect, and our results will be populated here. And it should look like the image I have on the screen or the figure 2-8 on page 78 in the book. Next, we're going to navigate to a different part of the worksheet by using the name box. So this is the name box. I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to type in O26. Make sure it's an O and not a 0, and I'll hit enter, and it's going to take me out to cell O26. Here I'm asked to type in the word total. I'll go ahead and hit total and hit enter. Double check that I have the home tab selected, and then in the editing group I'm asked to hit the auto sum button. So I'm going to click it, and auto sum is going to make an assumption that I want to take C27 through N27 and sum them all up. Okay, which is correct. That's what I want, so I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And we can see that the San Diego store had $370,000 worth of sales. We're going to copy the formula from cell O27 and we're going to paste it into this range. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to hit copy. I'm going to highlight the range O28 through O46. So I'm just going to pull down like so to select this range, and then I'm going to click paste, and it pastes in all of my store totals here. Next, we're asked to click cell B47, so I'm going to scroll over B47 and we're asked to type in total, and I'm going to hit the tab and I'm going to make cell C47 the active cell, and I'm going to select the range C47 to O47. I'm going to select here and go over to O47. So we have this whole range selected, and we're going to select auto sum again. And auto sum assumes that it wants us to sum up each column, which is a correct assumption. And then it says to select O48 to deselect the range. And you can take a quick glance at page 79 and see if some of your sums match up. Mine look like the picture there. And I'll move on to page 81, and we're going to format some cells now. So I'm going to scroll back up towards the top and then scroll back over here to the left, and it says to select the range C6 through E6. So C6 through E6, and these are numbers, okay? So we want to make them look like monetary values. So what we can do is we can go to the Home tab, go to the Numbers group, and we can click the accounting format number. So we can click that. You'll notice everything changes to hashtags or pound signs or whatever you like to call them. That doesn't mean that anything happened to it, it just means that it's too wide to be displayed. And we're going to fix that up. So as long as you still have E6 or C6 through E6 selected, we're going to go to the Home tab again, and in the Numbers field we're going to shrink or reduce the decimal. So if I hover over this point here, I'm going to click this 2 times. That's going to get rid of the cents portion of the values. Okay, so now we're asked to select C7 through E9. So C7 through E9, hold the Control key down, select C11 through E12, C11 through E12, and at this point we're asked to make these comma style. So if we come up here, we have a comma in the number area, that's comma style. We'll go ahead and click that, and we're going to decrease the decimal 2 places again. So at the bottom of page 82, we are asked to select the range F6 through F9. F6 through F9. We'll hold the Control key down. We'll select F11 through F12. And we're asked to change this to percent style. So here's the percent style. We'll go ahead and click that. And then we're going to increase the decimal place. Okay, so we're going to click it 2 times to have 2 decimal places. And we can deselect the range. Next, we're going to go to the Documentation tab, and this is on page 83. So we'll go to Documentation, and in here we're going to select cell B5. And if you were like me and forgot to put the date in, go ahead and just type in the date. I'm going to hit the check box. Now we are asked to change this. So in the Home tab, in the Numbers group, you can see that it says date right now. We're going to change this to long date. So I'm going to come down and select long date. and you notice it changes to Wednesday, March 1st, 2017. So you'll notice I didn't change anything. If I look in my formula bar, it still says 3/1/2017. It's just changing how it is displayed. So moving on to page 84, still in cell B5, we're going to align this left because everything else is aligned left. So on the Home tab, we can click the Align Left button, and it will align it to the left. Next, we'll go to the sales report, okay, and we're going to select C5 through F5. So there's C5 through F5. We'll make that selection, and we're going to center these because they're column headings. And then we'll do the same thing in the expense cat, or we're going to do not the same thing. We're going to do an indentation in the expense categories. So we're going to select B7 and B8. Okay, and we're going to indent these. So we're going to go to the Home tab here. In the alignment group, we're going to increase indent. So now you'll notice they're moved over a little bit. This is more of a standard accounting format. Then we're going to add some borders on the sales statistics. So we're going to select B5 through F5. So B5 through F5. Okay, in the borders arrow selection, we're going to click the arrow in the borders button area, and we're going to select bottom border. Okay, so we put a bottom border on this, and then we're going to select B6 through F6, B6 through F6, and we're going to select the bottom border button again. Okay. Next, we're going to go and select B9 through F9. So B9 through F9. And with B9 through F9 selected, we're going to add the bottom border again. And then we're going to select B11 through F11. B11 through F11. Or sorry, F12. B11 through F12. And we're going to go to the borders button here, and now we're going to do top and bottom border, which is down here. So let's select top and bottom border, and we're going to deselect the range, and it should look like figure 2-15, which should look like what I have displayed here on the screen. So now we're going to format the monthly sales table. So in the name box, we're going to type C27 colon O47, and we're going to hit enter, and that's going to select the entire table, or I should say it's going to select all of the numbers in the table. And in here we're going to go to step 2, and we're going to select the comma style, and then we're going to decrease the decimal 2 times. Okay, and then step 4 wants us to go to the alignment group and top align. Okay, so here's top align. And then it wants us to select the range C26 to O26. I'm going to do that in the name tab. C26 O26. And in this grouping on step 6, we're asked to click the center button. So we will center it, and then we're asked to select B27 through B46, so B27 to B46, and we're supposed to reduce the font size to 9, so we'll reduce it to 9-point font. We're asked to increase the indent button, so we'll hit the increase indent button. And we're asked to top align. So we will top align. Next, we're supposed to go to B47 to O47. So B47, O47. And in this group, we are asked to select the All Borders option from the Borders area. So we'll go All Borders. And then on page 87, we're going to select O26 026 to 046. And we're going to add the all borders to it as well. Then we'll deselect the range. Next, I'm on page 87 at the bottom. We're supposed to select the range A27 through A33, which is going to take all the stores in California. We're going to merge these into a single cell. Okay, so to do that, we've got the range selected. On the Home tab in the Alignment group, we're going to click Merge and Center. Okay, so then we can select the A34 through A36 range to select our Washington stores. Merge and center those. Right, so you can do it by clicking up here, or we could just highlight and do merge and center. Alright, so it says in cell A41, which is Idaho, so we've only got one store. This one we're just supposed to center. So we'll just click center, and then the range for Nevada, merge and center, and the range for Colorado will be merged and centered. Okay, so yours should look like the figure 217 or similar to what I have on the screen. Next, we're supposed to select A27. So here's A27. And we're going to rotate the text. So on the Home tab in the Alignment group, Home, Alignment, this is the text rotation or orientation button. So I'm going to click that, and we're going to select Rotate Text Up to rotate the text up. And then we're going to click the Middle Align button. So here's Middle Align, like so. Next, it asks us to select A34 through A46. So we're essentially going to select everything else and do that with it. Right? We're going to rotate text up, and we're going to middle align, and then we're asked to reduce the width of the column of A to 7 characters. So we're going to go from 10.86 down to 7. And then we're asked to select cell A47. On page 90, we're asked to select the range A26 to O26. So I'll just go A26 colon O26 and hit enter. And in the Home tab in the Font group, we're asked to launch the dialog box launcher, which is the little bracket with the arrow. So we'll click that, we'll get the Format Cells dialog box will come out. It wants us to click the color. It wants us to click the color box, and it wants us to select white background. So when I click this, it's not white background, it's the font color is white background 1. So we're going to go ahead and select that. Okay, and then we're asked to click on the Fill tab. So we'll click the Fill tab. Now we're going to fill these boxes with some color. It says in the background color selection, click green. So here's background color. Okay, we're going to click green. And then we'll click OK. So now what we've done is we've filled those cells with green fill with white font to make them stand out a little bit as the cell headings. Next, we're asked to select the range A27 to A46. So here's A27 to A46, the state names. And we're asked to right-click the range. So I just put my mouse pointer over the selected cells, and we'll bring up the shortcut menu. And we're going to select the Format Cells option. It does the exact same thing as clicking the Launch Dialog Box button up here. So in the background color, we're going to click the gold theme color. So here's the gold theme color for background fill. Okay, and then we're asked to click the Font tab, and we're going to change the font color to be the white background 1. And then in the size box, we're asked to click 14 and in the font style, we're going to click bold. Okay, so all these things are things that we've learned how to do up here on the ribbon, but this is just another way to do that. So we'll go ahead here and click OK, and I'll just click anywhere to exit out of that selection, and now you can see that we have the gold background with the white letters and a little bit larger font size. And that gets us to the end of session 1.1. We're going to continue working with this file in session 1.2.